So today, we're going to dive into something really profound from Indian spirituality. It's called Jivan Mukti, and it's this incredible idea that you can achieve total freedom, not in some faraway heaven or a life you haven't lived yet, but right here, right now, in the middle of this one.
You know, most of us think of enlightenment as this grand prize you get at the very end of a long, hard life. But what if that's a huge misunderstanding? What if the whole point is to become free while you're living? That's really the core question we're going to explore.
And here's the thing the source material really hammers home. Death is not some magical reset button. It's just a continuation. If you live your life in chaos, you're going to die in chaos. But if you live in joy, your death becomes a celebration. The state of mind you cultivate right now, well, that's the state you take with you.
So, that leads us straight into our first big idea, liberation here and now. And this idea, it really challenges one of our most common human habits, this tendency to put off all the things that matter most.
So what is Jivan Mukti? Well, it literally means liberated while living. See, it's not some reward you get after you die. It's a state of being you can actually access in the present moment. It's all about transforming your experience of life as it's happening.
We kind of treat our spiritual life like a retirement plan, don't we? We think, oh, I'll get to it later. We say bondage is for today, but freedom, that's for tomorrow. The source argues this is our single biggest mistake, because tomorrow is always, always one day away.
Think about it. When we're young, we say, I've got plenty of time. In adulthood, we say, I'm just too busy. Then, in old age, we figure we'll wait until the very end. But here's the simple truth. You have never, ever woken up on a day called tomorrow. You only ever have today. The time to awaken is now, because now is literally all there is.
Okay, so if liberation is actually possible right now, how do we even begin to approach it? Well, the source gives us this really powerful framework, and it's built on 3 core principles.
Here they are, plain and simple. Don't postpone, don't escape, and don't separate. We've just talked about the first one, so now let's dig into the other 2, because they seriously challenge some of the most common ideas about what it even means to be spiritual. All right, that second pillar, don't escape. This one's a big one. There's this myth that's been around forever that to find peace, you have to run away, go live on a mountain or in a monastery. But the source is so clear on this. True liberation is found right here, in the noise and the mess of the marketplace. The real challenge isn't to leave the world, it's to become fully, totally awake inside of it. And this brings us to the third pillar, don't separate. So many traditions create this conflict, this battle between life and the divine. They make you feel like you have to choose one or the other. But this teaching says that's a false choice. The sacred isn't separate from our everyday lives, it's hidden inside of them. A Jivan Mukta is someone who's found that exact meeting point.
Okay, this all sounds great, right? But if we're going to achieve this in the real world, we have to deal with our biggest inner obstacle, the ego. And the way to do that, well, it's surprisingly counterintuitive.
To really get this, there's this amazing story. Imagine a huge forest, and it's completely engulfed in flames. Trapped inside are 2 people. There's a blind man who has strong legs and can walk perfectly. And there's a lame man who has perfect vision but can't walk at all.
So the blind man, he represents the worldly person. Full of life energy, full of drive and action, but with 0 spiritual vision. He just bumps into trees, constantly getting burned. And the lame man, he's the classic renunciate. He can see the way out. He has all the wisdom, but he's totally disengaged from life and has no energy to actually do anything. You see, if they try to act alone, they're both doomed. They'll die in the fire. But what if the lame man climbs onto the blind man's shoulders? Then they can escape. The one with the vision guides the one with the energy. And that right there, that is Jivan Mukti, the union of spiritual consciousness and real-world action. You absolutely need both. And this is where things get really interesting. Kind of paradoxical, actually. We're so often told to crush our ego, to make it small, but the source says the exact opposite. A weak, undeveloped ego is impossible to surrender. It just clings to you, like a green, unripe fruit clings to a branch. Only a strong, mature, fully formed ego can ripen and just fall from the tree on its own.
I mean, that's a fascinating question, isn't it? Why would it possibly be easier to let go of something you've spent your entire life building up? It's because you can't give away what you don't actually have. To truly surrender, you first have to have a self to offer up, a self that's whole and complete.
And that leads us to what might be the ultimate act of strength on the spiritual path, the art of surrender. And no, it's not about giving up. It's about giving yourself over to something so much larger than yourself.
Think of it like you're rowing a boat. The first oar is willpower, or sankalpa in Sanskrit. This is all the effort you use to build yourself up, to become strong and capable. The second oar is surrender, or samarpan. This is the wisdom to let go, to trust in a higher intelligence. Now, if you only use one oar, what happens? You just go in circles. You need both to cross the river.
So the true meaning of surrender isn't defeat. It's like a finely crafted instrument, maybe a beautiful veena, saying to the master musician, look, I have made myself the absolute best instrument I can possibly be. Now, you play. It's allowing the music of the universe to flow right through you.
And all of this, it all comes together in this one beautiful, final, unifying idea of Jivan Mukti, where every single part of your life, from the most boring, mundane stuff to the absolutely magnificent, it all becomes a sacred act.
The mystic poet Kabir just captured this feeling perfectly. When you realize that life itself is sacred, your whole perspective just shifts. A simple walk isn't just a walk anymore, it's a pilgrimage. A meal becomes an offering to the divine that's right inside of you. Every little action becomes an act of service.
You know, that whole search for a holy place, it ends the moment you realize your own body is the temple. And the search for the right words to pray, that ends when you realize your entire life, when it's lived with awareness, is the most powerful prayer there is.
So I'll leave you with this to reflect on. If your life truly is the temple and your actions are the prayer, what are you offering today? What song is your life singing? Thanks so much for joining this exploration.